This week on the show, we're talking all the best stuff that came out this year, but none of that matters because we have a hilarious quiz.
Yes.
GG to Baldur's Gate for winning Game of the Year. It's time for Nerd Here Weekly. Bruno, do the thing. Welcome to Nerd Here Weekly, the weekly entertainment news show that is all about finding a way to get evil mistresses into sheep form to take them to The Hague. My name is Riley Trahand, and as always, I am joined by a very confused-looking Deepak Chutness.
It's confusing just because I thought we had already figured that out.
A surprised-looking Fred Neighbor.
I mean, look, I've read the Odyssey.
And a Jackson Trahand who knows exactly what I'm talking about. But we can't hear you because you're muted. Because we muted you to start the show. Because
I said I always do.
Did you? Okay, so Jack, do you actually know what my opening reference of the week is to?
I don't.
Oh, okay. So I don't know. I don't have quite enough information to give you guys the full rundown on this, but Baldur's Gate, which we're going to talk about in a little bit, won Game of the Year this year in a surprise upset. I thought, but maybe I was wrong. There is a villainess in that game, one of the early bosses, who up until recently, if instead of beating her, you transformed her into a sheep and then did a lot of very complex other things, you could bring her into your party as like one of your league instead of her being an enemy. And this was referred to on the internet as Sheep Thara. Because part of it involved turning her into a sheep, but apparently there was a
stay in sheep form.
No, she changes back.
Okay.
But apparently they patched it, so now you can just get her.
Okay. Yeah. I was worried they patched it out.
No, that would be terrible. But I do think there is like a badge of honor amongst those who did it in the sheep form.
Who had the sheep route? No, anyway. I haven't gotten around to playing through Baldur's Gate 3 yet. Actually,
no, me either. And a little bit of that is because of some news we're going to talk about here in a bit with its funky little release schedule. But before we get to that, we wanted to let everybody know that we're coming to the end of the year. So time's running out to get your sample of the Nerd Out. We wanted to remind you that if you head to NIHF.com/Godzilla, you get 4 free weeks of the Nerd Out, as well as access to the full back catalog. So if you want to check it out, you want to see if you might want to be slinging us $5 a month for the bonus eps, NIHF.com/Godzilla. It's a good way to find out. Let you know. Let's get straight to the show. I don't want to do any housekeeping. We got a packed week. We don't have time for stuff. Rah! Everybody show your Godzillas. There's mine. Deepak had his. And now it is time. Visual joke. If you're listening on the show, NIHF.com, watch Fred take his penis out. Headline roundup, probably the biggest news of the week. Guys, we got a GTA 6 trailer. I don't even need to set that one up. It's the whole thing right there in and of itself. Jack, let's talk about it.
It's just Florida. It's just Florida is what it is. And did you guys see the thing? It's the GTA trailer with actual news headlines from Florida.
Yeah, I mean, it does seem like they were pretty overtly referencing genuine, news footage and stories and headlines. And it looks, how I'd expect GTA 6 to look. It looks very good, much better than the now 11-year-old predecessor. And, it'll be another 2 years until the game comes out. So
yeah.
I like that if you're making a game about a crime-infested wasteland, you just have to set it in Florida, and you can really drive the point home by
not even the first
by including Don Johnson's Ferrari from Miami Vice in there even. And,
Yep.
Yeah, I think it'll be a good time. God, I feel like GTA 5 is old enough to buy its own GTA 6 at this point. Like legally.
Almost. Yeah, just about.
Vice City definitely is.
Yeah. So
it's curious to me, guys. Is there not the same motivation, Jackson, I guess, in the video game industry to kind of strike while the iron is hot, as there is, we see with movies, they're green-lighting sequels before the first one's even out.
Well, games are... I don't want to say more complicated, but they certainly involve more parts than a movie does in terms of having a lot of different types of teams that need to work together and having, as a result, I think, longer development times.
That's fair enough.
Grand Theft Auto 6 has definitely not been in development this entire time, I don't think.
Right.
But, you know, there is also more of a long-term appeal to games. GTA Online was built on Grand Theft Auto 5, and as far as I know, still has an active community in it. So when you release a new game, you are sort of, at least for specific types of games, you can be hampering the business of your prequels if they are still active services.
That's fair enough.
Yeah, we've all talked about how games that come out are still in development for years after they come out. Cyberpunk just kind of became a complete game, like what, 2 months ago? So
right,
it won the award for best ongoing game experience or whatever the fuck.
No, now there's a whole award for making your
I love
games.
how that's its own
real.
category now. Yeah.
All right, next up in the roundup, guys, Donald Glover is bringing us a revised version of Mr. and Mrs. Smith on Amazon Prime. I thought this looked pretty exciting. It has a cool kind of old school spy vibe, sort of looks like it's capitalizing on the success of Killing Eve, which of course Glover's collaborator Phoebe Waller-Bridge is working on. And so I thought that the tone of it was interesting because of that connection, but also I just think it looks like a cool, fun, kind of sexy spy show. Definitely different take than the Brad Pitt, Angelina Jolie one that was sort of more about the relationship and they happen to be spies. This kind of looks like it's a spy show and their cover happens to be that they are a married couple. Deepak, you excited for this one? What do you think?
I mean, I'm sure it'll be okay because I don't think Glover and especially Phoebe Waller-Bridge commit themselves to bad projects. And the last time they worked together on something is my favorite Star Wars movie of the last 15 years. But I feel like they could both be doing something more constructive with their time.
Yeah, it's interesting, right? He has not been doing too much lately. I was actually just sort of complaining about this to Maggie. You know, he's been show running a bunch of stuff. He did Swarm, which was popular and pretty spooky.
I mean, didn't Atlanta just end?
Yeah, just wrapped up Atlanta last year. He started an AI company that he was like actively recruiting people for. So he's sort of in this like interesting period in his career. I mean, of course, he's got a shit ton of money and everybody's begging him to do the Community movie, and he has like a baby. So I
think they're doing it, right?
They're definitely doing it,
and he's going to be part of it.
Yeah. It just when it happens, like I don't even know if they're filming. I mean, the Community movie is a whole different thing we could talk about sometime. But yeah, I don't know. I am hoping that maybe this gets him back on screen more often. I would like to see him like doing stuff. You know, I know he's a really good creative force behind the scenes, but I like to see him acting.
He was a surprisingly prominent part of Fiona and Cake, although that was just his voice.
Yeah.
I didn't see Fiona.
Where is his music career right now? Because I haven't heard him in anything since like This Is America, which is what, 3-4 years ago minimum.
Yeah, so 3/15/20 was his final album, as he said was the last Gambino album. That led people to think that maybe he was going to start doing music as Donald Glover, and that it might be less. You know, the Gambino stuff, as much as I love it, is always sort of like part rap, part commentary on rap. So, you know, maybe more straight down the middle was kind of the assumption. But yeah, he said 3/15/20 was the last Gambino album. He did the last, what he said, final Gambino show before COVID. So yeah, I mean, that's part of the question where I am on it as well, Deepak, is like, if he's getting out of the music stuff, I guess I expected, you know, him to like start writing more movies or whatever. And I haven't seen that.
I feel like Donald Glover just like happens to dabble in a whole bunch of stuff, and he just happens to make a shit ton of money when he dabbles. But like, I don't feel like he's decided if he wants to be an actor.
Yeah, right. He's just every time he does something, it turns to gold. So what is he give a shit? Yeah. It'll be interesting to see what happens with this Mr. and Mrs. Smith show. I'll definitely be tuning in. So even if you guys don't, I'll let you know what's going on with it. This is video games by way of movies for this third story of our roundup. But during the Game Awards, it was announced that Hideo Kojima and Jordan Peele are teaming up for what I can only assume will be a spooky ass fucking video game called OD. Jack, do we know anything about this yet?
We know that Hideo Kojima is Jeff Keighley's best friend and gets as much time at the Game Awards as he wants.
That is probably true.
Yeah, I mean, the Game Awards was a shit show, but in general, I think there's been a lot of complaints about the amount of time different types of people get to speak and how little time the game developers got to like accept their awards.
Yeah, right. Award show problems.
And look, I like Hideo Kojima and his games. I'm playing Death Stranding right now, but this trailer was nothing. It was just through like models of actors delivering lines, and we know basically nothing about this game. So, you know, I'm sure it'll be weird and interesting when it comes out, but I last year when Hideo got his whole like song and dance, there was a layer of it that was about his leaving Konami and the not great ways that he was treated in the context of the Game Awards specifically when he worked there. So there was an air of it that was like, we're giving this guy like the recognition that he didn't get before. But I do not want a 20-minute Kojima segment every year at the Game Awards if this is going to be the new E3.
I like Kojima. I think Kojima does very interesting projects. I'm not expecting to understand what the fuck is going on in this game at all. Period. Like,
no, but yes, partly because of that, Fred. There's no reason to trot him out on stage and tease it for so long. Like, yeah, I'll play it when it comes out.
Like, I feel like a Jordan Peele and Kojima game would just be, it would be visually stunning. It would be absolutely gorgeous and weird to look at. I won't know the story after I've played it 10 times, but
sometimes that's just part of the experience.
I feel like Kojima does a good job of keeping himself relevant and in the news, even when he's not, to my knowledge, actively doing anything at the moment. Like even when there's like a big movie release or something, like with the new Godzilla, he was out in front, you know, giving his opinion about it, and he does that a few times.
Oh, he loves movies. That's the first thing you need to know about Hideo.
He got his face scanned. What did he get his face scanned for recently? Was that for Cyberpunk or was that for something else?
I don't think it was Cyberpunk.
I do remember hearing this story, Deepak, but I could not tell you what it was for either.
Yeah, it was to be like an extra in like a digital extra in something, or there was he went. Oh, he scanned the RRR director's face for something. That's what it was.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah,
I mean, him and Guillermo del Toro in one of his video games.
Well, I was about to say he and Guillermo are buds, right? And I feel like Hideo, like we've used the Nolan analogy before, but I feel like it's really Guillermo is like the guy to point to, right? Because he's kind of just like an enthusiast for the stuff. He's really into it. He wants to be trying stuff. He wants to be doing things. He wants to be messing around. He'll attach himself to like 8 projects and then work on none of them. Like it's, you know, there's interesting parallels between the guys. But yeah, I don't know. If and when this game comes out, I will play it and it will be enjoyable, I am sure. But yeah, like Fred says, it'll be fucking weird and spooky and confusing probably. But hey, I'm here for more of that in my video game diet, to be honest. All right, next up. It is our unfortunate job to continue reporting on the Jonathan Majors story because nobody else is really following it. So we've got more bummer Jonathan Majors news coming for you. We got text messages, guys. This seems like it's kind of going to be the final nail in the proverbial coffin, if I'm honest.
He's absolutely done.
I will just go ahead and read the text verbatim, and I will leave space for everyone to react on the other side. Quote, I fear you have no perspective of what could happen if you go to the hospital. They will ask you questions, and as I don't think you actually protect us, it could cause an investigation, even if you do lie and they suspect something. Her response, I will tell the doctor I bumped my head. I am going to give it one more day, but I can't sleep and I need something strong. I need some stronger painkillers. That's all. Why would I tell them what really happened when it's clear I want to be with you? So that seems like it's kind of the end.
The worst part of all this, I'm sorry to cut you off, but I think you're about to get to it, is him. He plays the manipulator card of reversing everything and saying that, you know, oh, who am I to be with you? I feel like I'm going to kill myself. I've thought about killing myself. This is knowing that the girlfriend's ex-boyfriend had committed suicide.
Ooh.
And this is the weapon that he uses against her. He is, I mean, whatever, innocent till proven guilty and all that. But yeah, but from what has been revealed so far is garbage. And yeah, the lawyer does not seem to be a whole lot better. I'm kind of shocked that there was not. I mean, this must be a civil case, I'm assuming, because there was no plea offer at any point that I'm aware of. So, I mean, regardless, this goes beyond like Kang or anything. I think his career is over.
Yeah, no, this man needs to be out of Hollywood as soon as possible. We do have, and people can find on people.com the text messages Deepak is referring to, in which he fucking manipulates the shit out of her through really, really traumatic manipulation and language and just use of horrible threats. But
he knows
yeah,
exactly what he's doing.
I mean, this fucking guy's got to go.
Pretty textbook.
Like, I can't believe that there is not a Harvey Weinstein level, just like all of Hollywood ousting this guy at this point. Yeah,
I think that's inevitable. If it hasn't already happened, we just haven't heard about it yet. Maybe.
Yeah. Jeez.
One can hope.
Yeah. So anyway, fuck Jonathan Majors. We continue to just be here to remind you every week.
No, don't.
No, yeah, well. All right, and then a little bit of what I thought was bright news, but I kind of want to also get you guys' reactions to this, because maybe I'm not sure how we feel about it. But when I saw the headline, I certainly had a little bit of a excited butterflies. Denis Villeneuve says Dune 3 script is basically done.
Sweet.
But he says
Cool.
he might he might take a break before he does it to do something else, just to like keep himself sane. Yeah, see,
that's also good.
Fred's like, yeah, but
Well,
then
no, here's
do
what's
it?
good. Here's what's good about it is that he's not saying he's not doing it.
That's true.
Before he had said he wasn't going to do the third one. Now there's none of that. He's just saying he might want to do something else in the middle. Go for it. He was talking about doing Rendezvous with Ryle. He seems to be stuck in this kind of sci-fi thing. I would rather him maybe go back to doing something more of
like Prisoners or whatever.
Prisoner kind of vibe. But yeah, if he wants to, I mean, I feel like if you're going to do a big movie, just do Dune 3. If you need a break in the middle, you probably want to do like a low budget indie about a quirky teacher trying to connect with a student or something like that. Not like a May December thing.
Yeah, I mean, I am with you. I wouldn't mind him not getting stuck in Dune land forever. I was excited that, and he did confirm in this press conference in South Korea that it is basically just Dune Messiah straight down the middle, and that's the adaptation for the third one.
So that's one movie for that whole book.
One movie, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Is that
it's a much shorter
possible
book.
as a Dune person? Do you
Yeah.
Okay.
A reasonable.
I mean, I think the first two brought in like the really complicated shit already.
Yeah, the first one was always going to have the most to do
first
anyway, but
movie
it is not a short book in the series comparatively either.
Well, the first movie was just every character explaining everything for 2.5 hours.
Well,
I hope they get parts out of it.
Because of that, he said that 2 is already much better.
He
than
claims
1.
2 is not that as much.
And he seems to be looking forward. Yeah, and I think he's looking even more forward to 3, sort of for all those same reasons. But I'm with you, Deepak. Let's let him stretch his legs. Let's let him, like you say, I mean, get back to just locking, Jake Gyllenhaal in a closet for 2 hours or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, like burnout's a real thing, so I'm happy that's still getting made, I guess, in that context. So yeah.
Well, yeah, I don't know.
We don't
make
want
a burnout
creatives going crazy.
Ooh, burnout.
I don't know how
Love
the
those games.
details of the strike work, but I don't think he's claiming to have written all of the script for Dune 3 in the last 2 or 3 months, or whatever it is.
No, but like, working on the
Yeah,
No, I
but
think
you've
it
been
was,
working
it
on
was
this pretty
chugging along,
continuously.
but the writer's strike also ended in September, October. I think it ended way before the actor.
Yeah,
strike.
that's true.
So he says, just so we have the quote, because Jack's asking for the context. He said to the South Korean press that Dune Messiah is, quote, being written right now. The screenplay is almost finished, but it is not finished. It will take a little more time. There's a dream of making a third movie. It would make absolute sense to me. So that's the...
I don't mean to say this in a rude way, but was there a reason he was inspired to break this to the South Korean press?
Someone
just
must have asked him a very specific question about it.
I think that's just where he was promoting the movie. Yeah. I don't,
Yeah.
you're asking like, was he at a film festival or something? That I'm not
I don't know.
entirely
I
sure.
just
No,
don't-
he was
I've never
sitting
heard
on this
that phrase
until he
before.
went to South Korea and was like, "These are the people that deserve."
I have
look,
news.
Korean cinema's been really great, and I don't think they had to strike. So
Well,
That's
that's a great point.
great
I
point,
would
Fred.
be willing to hear him out.
Yeah, I'm. This variety story that I'm reading from, Jack, doesn't give any context as to why
What if
Denny
Dune
found
3 is
himself
just a K-drama,
in South Korea. That would be good. I'd be here for that. All right.
but still with Timothy Chalamet? You'll fit.
Well, of course, if you're gonna do a K-drama, you need to keep Chalamet as your skinny little twink at the forefront. Obviously,
He kind of feels like I make already. So
he is. He looks like a Hayao Miyazaki hero. All right, we're going to take a quick break, and when we get to the other side here, we are going to run through everything that happened at the Game Awards. So, guys, the Game Awards went down this week, and there were some big winners and some big losers. Spider-Man got blanked, which I was a little bit surprised by. I saw some big reactions online, although maybe that was just kind of category situation going up against things like Baldur's Gate and Zelda. Everywhere it was nominated didn't make life easy. Alan Wake 2 really felt like the big winner of the night to me, despite the fact it didn't win Game of the Year. It did take home a ton of other awards. Last of Us obviously got Best Adaptation, which none of us, I think, were probably surprised by. But yeah, I mean, that's the high level. Jack, talk to me. Was Alan Wake kind of the winner of the Game Awards? Does Baldur's Gate taking Game of the Year mean more than everything else? Do you want to talk about their shitty little PR campaign to drop pretend like they were bumping the Xbox release only to then announce the Xbox release the minute they won Game of the Year?
There were a few interesting trailers. I really like the Starfield trailer that ends with a very interesting, like, congratulations to all the nominees that I feel like was definitely, they thought they were going to get nominated.
Todd cut that one before the game was out.
But yeah, so the Game Awards, hosted by Jeff Keighley, are an annual tradition at this point, and it seems like they are here to stay. We had a few interesting guests. We had Gonzo show up of Muppet fame.
Of the Muppets.
Avid gamer.
Obviously, the best Game of the Year award itself was given out by notable Miyazaki protagonist Timothy Chalamet. But in general,
the boy who looks like a heron.
yeah, I would say this is in general a show characterized more by the trailers than even the awards that they gave out.
Anybody have a peach?
Pardon?
I'm just doing my Timothy Chalamet impression in the background.
So I am more interested in some of the announcements that came, but there were.
Well, this is sort of always the thing. I mean, let's pause on this before we get anywhere else, because this is sort of always the thing, and almost a culture thing that I feel like Deepak, I'd love to have you speak to as well, because like this is what the Game Awards are for at this point, right? Like people don't watch the Game Awards from my perspective because they're like, oh, I want to know what the best game of the year was. It seems like they watch it because they want to see the trailers for GTA 6 and Senua 2 and whatever else is going to get dropped.
Yeah,
right?
And I think that's fine. I just wish it wasn't called the Game Award. It should be Jeff Keighley's Video Game Holiday Spectacular.
Jeff Keighley presents next year's games
So
today.
it's not. So in a lot of ways, it's not the Oscars; it's the Super Bowl.
It's the Super Bowl.
People who don't. It's people who don't like football will still watch the Super Bowl because they want to see the new movie trailers and they want to see Beyonce at halftime.
A bit, yeah.
So
yeah.
Except nobody likes this because they don't know how to put on an award show. But in terms of the awards that did get put out, I would say nothing except for maybe Best Game of the Year was that surprising to me. I didn't genuinely expect Baldur's Gate 3 to get it just because it is a sort of a niche genre, if nothing else.
Honestly, I was expecting Zelda.
I wish it was Zelda, but that doesn't surprise me that it wasn't really. Mario did get Best Family Game, but as you alluded to, Riley, Alan Wake 2 did get Best Direction and Narrative and Art Direction. It was probably the biggest winner in terms of just number of awards.
I'll say after the awards, having really played I've played Mario Wonder. I'm looking at the list of nominees here. I've played Mario Wonder. So basically having played none of the games. My interest, I think, spiked the most for Alan Wake 2. And even, I think we've talked about this, wanting to go back and replay the first Alan Wake. You know, I'm a big fan of things like Twin Peaks, right? So I think that Alan Wake would appeal to me in general. And Fred, I liked even a couple of years ago. What's that fucking indie thing we played?
Control?
Yeah.
No.
Well, that's what I was going to talk about.
The Light Beam.
Oh, Light Matter.
Is that what it was called? Yes, Light Matter. Yeah, but like that's sort of, to my understanding, isn't Alan Wake like a shooter with a flashlight? So
yeah, a little bit.
But sorry, you were going to speak of Control, Jackson?
Yeah, it's just we also had this weird thing with Control recently, which is a game that was not explicitly, but turns out to be set in the same world as Alan Wake.
Yeah.
So there has been some more renewed interest in that series, I think, from there.
Gotcha. Yeah.
That's a very different game, but I like that one a lot.
Yeah, the first time
it's
I've
on
ever
my
heard
list
of Alan Wake,
things to
let
try
alone
out.
Alan Wake 2.
Oh, D-Back, Alan Wake came out like when we were in high school, maybe?
Yeah, it's not a new game.
It says, yeah.
So I actually started playing Alan Wake this year in anticipation for Alan Wake 2, and it's I mean, it's a fun game. It doesn't, the graphics don't hold up because it was made to be like photorealistic.
Yeah,
so
10 years ago.
Yeah. But it is really funny watching my computer just like absolutely powerhouse this thing, but it doesn't work for my TV. So when I like move around on my TV because I'm like playing on the couch, it like you see all the lines and chop because the TV can't refresh fast enough.
Now, but my understanding, right, is that the first Alan Wake is a game in which you play, and this is, I'm principally pitching this at D-Back. You play as a horror writer who has had writer's block. And so you and your wife go up to a cabin, and then you get in a fight or something, and your wife leaves the cabin, and you walk outside, and you see like some monster or something like pulling her into the lake. And then you like pass out and wake up, and someone's like, "There hasn't been a cabin there for 100 years, and where's your wife?" And so then you have to solve the mystery of what was going on. So kind of a spooky, narratively driven experience. So Alan Wake 2 getting sort of all these ambiance awards, I think makes sense. But you know, the straight up, when we talk about the Game of the Year nominees, we said Alan Wake 2, we said Baldur's Gate, which of course won. The other ones were Spider-Man 2, Resident Evil 4, Super Mario Bros. Wonder, and Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom. All really strong games. I'm curious what you guys think it says that Baldur's Gate, the D&D experience, basically was the winner of that group.
Good year. Been a good year for D&D.
It has been a good year for D&D.
D&D, yeah.
Well, I'm not sure that movie's getting a sequel.
Like I said, I was interested. I didn't think it had that wide of an appeal in the same way that some of the other ones did. I mean, there were other, like, I didn't think Resident Evil 4 was very likely just by virtue of what it is. And I would be shocked if a Mario or Zelda game won Game of the Year in current year. But, you know, I do think that out of them, Zelda was my favorite, and it's the one I would have voted for.
Breath of the Wild didn't win, huh?
Breath of the Wild came out many years ago. Tears of the Kingdom.
No, I mean,
no, he means the year it came
Breath
out.
of the Wild won in 20.
It might have.
I actually kept going to Breath of the Wild when I was playing.
Yeah, it did get Breath of the Wild did get Game of the Year as well as Game Direction and Best Action Adventure Game
in 2017. I hear.
Who won Best Supporting Actor in an RPG though?
Ooh. There should be.
Is that an award?
There should be.
I can't tell if he's joking or not.
I don't think it's a
Sheep
Thera. One of the problems with the Game Awards, I would say, is a lack of consistency across categories.
Right? Yeah, some years there'll just be an award for the Norman Reedus Award.
I mean, there was best. Do you guys want to know who won Best Esports Team Coach?
Yeah, definitely.
It was Christine Potter-Chi of the Evil Geniuses in the game Valorant.
What is Valorant?
Valorant?
He was a shoo-in.
Do you mean Valorant?
Yeah, I think she's a lady. B, yeah, Valorant. I mean, I haven't played it because I didn't think anyone had, but it's one of these 5-on-5 Overwatch type team
Oh, yeah,
competitive
sure.
shooters.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That exhausts me just by existing. Sure. Yeah. All right, cool. Well, most anticipated game is apparently Final Fantasy VII, so get excited for that.
Part 2 of 3, I think.
Deepak, are you going to play Avatar Lands of Pandora or whatever it's called?
If it hits $20 in the near future, I might give it a try. But I started playing Red Dead Redemption 2.
Oh,
Ooh.
how are you
was
liking that?
Nominated for best ongoing game experience.
I'm still, I think, on the training level version of it.
Sure.
Is it
You know,
snowy?
we're riding through the snow and the cabin burned down and we rescued the girl and all that. But
Oh, yeah.
The tutorial
so
is all
far,
snowy.
so
Once it
far at
stops
least
snowing.
there's yeah, I mean, I'm like
You'll be
0% of the way through the gameplay apparently, but you know, there's more going on than at least fucking Assassin's Creed Odyssey, which I see was also nominated for Game of the Year.
We're just going to have to let your experience with Assassin's Creed go sometime. We're never going to be able to litigate that to death. Although I do think before the end of the year, Deepak, maybe we need another Stanley's check-in.
Yeah. A Stanley
What
Parable?
check-in?
Stanley Parable check-in. If you want to just go back and play it one time again, but a different way, and then we can check back in. All right, cool.
Is that the one where I'm stuck in the office and the buttons to disarm the bomb? Okay. That's not the one where the guy killed himself, right?
No.
We also got Riley. Sean Murray got to go up on stage and promise absolutely everything under the sun in his next video game.
I saw that Sean made the same mistake he made last time, and it was good to know that that Waxwing factory is still up and running. Yeah, so Sean Murray, of course, the creative force behind No Man's Sky, the game that was doomed by the fact that its creator kept promising it was going to be the craziest, most all-encompassing video game you've ever seen. And then when it came out and it wasn't, everybody fucking hated him. And it took him like 8 years to build that game into what he had said it was going to be when it launched, has now once again promised the coolest, most deep, involved open world, true open world.
Did you know no games have ever been open world before?
Yeah, the phrase he used was true
Sean's
open world, which sounded like the exact same phrase he may have used when he described No Man's Sky, which, yeah, fucking dude's gonna be his own destruction. There's no way around that. That's for sure. All right.
And we got Monster Hunter 6.
Jack's just trying to stall because he knows what's coming next. When we come back from the other side, a quiz about Jackson.
A quiz about Jackson?
Okay. The president.
All right, guys.
Jackson.
So,
He's on the 20.
welcome back to the show. Jack, as you know,
Hi.
Part of the upgrade to the show this year, part of why we've been able to look better, sound better, come to you in different formats, do more stuff, is because of a lot of the great behind the scenes help that we've been able to get this year. We brought on 2 great producers to this show to help make it what it is, and we're even more excited to continue.
Are you counting yourself in that?
No, I'm counting Sterling in that.
Okay.
And I've been meeting with them to figure out how we're going to make the show even bigger and better next year. But part of having them on that's been fun is that they are both friends of Jackson. And so, you know, while the 4 of us have kind of been doing this for so long, and Jack's been my brother, and Deepak and Fred, you know, were my friends before we all worked together. And now, of course, we're all friends. But it's kind of cool to have Jack's friends on as like a new generation of the team kind of builds out. And part of what's been fun to have them on is that they went to college with Jack. So I went to them and I said, hey, guys, I need a quiz. Can you give me a couple questions and I can ask the guys whether or not the following is about Jack in college or an Arnold Schwarzenegger character? So we're going to do a round robin here. Everybody's involved. Jack has a little bit of an advantage, but only a little bit of one. And we're going to just go around and everybody's going to tell me, is the question that I am giving you about Jack in college or about an Arnold Schwarzenegger character from the 2000s?
Dylan.
Here we go. Let's start.
Pushing too many pencils.
Let's start with
a very
Jack.
strange Venn diagram.
Jack, Did you or Arnold walk into a party with your full dick on display?
Huh.
Both an option.
I don't remember doing this, but
This is
I
an
also don't
Arnold
remember
Schwarzenegger
Arnold doing this.
Character?
That's what's tricky. Is I
Okay.
feel like I almost know more about his life than my own.
No, I know the answer to this one.
That's not your
actually.
question.
I think Arnold did this.
Arnold did do it in Terminator 1, but according to your friends, you have walked into a towel and just into a party and just hung out in a towel before.
That's more
Sharon
believable.
Stone did. Okay.
I can see how that could happen.
All right, 1 point to Jack. Fred, did Arnold or Jack laugh maniacally while killing people with yakety sax playing in the background?
As far as I know, Jackson has not killed anyone.
Did Arnold?
This is an Arnold character. Yeah,
To be clear, it's not real Arnold. It is Arnold characters.
Oh, I thought we were talking about real Arnold. I missed that. Okay.
No. So the first one was the Terminator was the answer.
Yeah, I'm gonna just assume this one's Arnold. I don't think Jack killed people with yakety sax in the background. Well, yakety sax, like Arnold movie? No, yeah. Oh,
I do love yakety sax.
I'm gonna say Arnold.
That's the first thing.
Now this one is Jack. Apparently during an assassination party game, a thing that I don't even know what that means, but I didn't write the questions. So
You know when you go to a party and somebody gets murdered.
Didn't we used to play that
Like, it's a
assassination
game.
game in high school?
yeah. Maybe, that makes sense. Maybe that's what it was. All right, Deepak, to you. Did Arnold Schwarzenegger character or your podcast co-host Jackson Trahan, a real life person, take a covert shower in another man's house?
Oh, that's Jackson.
It is. They say my
that
note
one I
here
did
says,
do.
my note here
I don't know
says-
how covert I was.
Sounds like True Lies.
Yeah, I
but
mean,
this
we
is
know
a
about
Jack
it now. It's gotta be
Truly
that.
Trahan story.
That's
All
a
right,
good
back-
one. I could see Arnold having to do that due to the hilarious antics that he gets himself into in all those dang films.
Yeah, right. Because he's like
That's like
Danny
a
DeVito's
kindergarten cop scene for sure.
brother or something.
100%,
yeah. Back around the horn to you, Jackson. Is this about you or Arnold
This has been
Schwarzenegger
surprisingly
character?
difficult.
Did you get into a fight with a mailman?
No.
It seems
Did
like you might
Arnold?
have. Yeah, in
Uh-oh.
Jingle All the Way. In Jingle All the Way, Arnold Schwarzenegger gets into a fight with a mailman. So that's
Okay. Phew.
you're good. You did not. I just like Jack having to
Fucking
fight.
nice.
Somebody talked.
Of all the people you got in a fight with, Jackson was one of them a mailman. That's what
Look,
we
I have a
wanted.
lot of. They rarely satisfy me in terms of delivery time.
All right, Fred,
All right.
Jackson, or an Arnold Schwarzenegger character play dirty at hide and seek.
Oh, Jackson.
Fred, you are not good at this game. This is Arnold and Predator.
Yeah, Fred, I respect the rules of a game.
No, but playing dirty isn't the same as cheating.
Well, yeah, you don't, so that's why you think that.
That sounds like a Patriots fan to me.
Did you see that? I got such a
Deepak, Jack, or an Arnold Schwarzenegger character got in trouble for with a major corporation for the theft of property.
Jackson too.
It is also Jack. We may have been thinking Total
I used to
Recall.
be poor.
Total Recall was a government, not a corporation. Jack,
I
tell us about the
vaguely
time you got in
recall
trouble.
this story happening. I vaguely recall this a couple years ago.
Jack, tell us about when you got in trouble with Giant.
I did.
Yeah.
What is there to say? I was poor and wanted to not spend money on things, and they took grievance with that. I don't do it anymore.
Well, that's fair. I'm not anti-theft. I was just curious about the story. Jack,
It was not worth it in terms of like what I was trying to get away with. To
fair
have
enough.
to never go back to that giant.
That sucks. Jack, you or Arnold Schwarzenegger had sex with Jamie Lee Curtis?
Mm. Mm. Mhm.
The movie this is a reference to is interesting. The title of it, given the game we're playing.
Well, now, both is not an option, so I'll go with the more publicly acknowledged
Yeah,
Arnold
for
situation.
now, we will all just say that we know that happened in True Lies, and that's all we need to say on the record right now. There's a reason why we don't get invited to the Halloween premieres anymore. Fred, last chance, redemption. Was Jack or Arnold haunted by a porcelain doll?
I don't remember a porcelain doll in an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie.
Unless you count some of his co-stars. Hey-oh!
Oh,
Whoa, whoa!
I'm gonna say, hey Jack, look at me, Jack. How you doing? You doing good?
Hey, I'm doing well. I'm definitely not.
How do you feel about
past visions?
Fred's just so afraid to blank this quiz.
I'm so terrified. Jackson.
Schwarzenegger was definitely in one of the
Jackson.
Annabelle movies.
It was Jackson, yes.
Yeah,
Arnold's,
no, true. I still have this doll, and I don't know where it came from.
And
So you're
then-
still haunted by this porcelain doll? Why do you still have
in my
it?
closet?
Yeah.
All right.
What, are you gonna break it? That's
Yes.
definitely gonna make it worse.
He's so altruistic. He just doesn't want anyone else to have to suffer through it.
Right now, it's
He's just
contained.
keeping it.
It's in the doll. I just need to not
I
go
know
in that
where it
closet.
I think that is like what they do with Annabelle, isn't it? They're like, she just lives in the attic.
Yeah, she's in like a glass
We
case. Like she
acquiesce
can't hurt
territory.
anyone else.
Do not open this case. Yeah.
All right, so there you go. Just a little bit of a quiz about Jack. Thought it would just be a fun thing to do.
That's very silly. I'm glad you did this. You
Put him a
had
little bit on
alluded to
blast.
it before, but
Wanted everybody to be here for it. So yeah, there you go. Quiz
I'm
about
also
I'm
Jack.
now
glad my
terrified
friends
that this
did not
like
reveal the
opens
worst
the
to me.
door for like other quizzes about us that I'm like, shit, there's precedent.
Yeah,
for this
it's the
now.
precedent of the thing.
Now it's out there. All right, when we get back, best stories of the week or year. Fuck. All right, guys, it is the end of the year. A couple weeks, we're going to be making our best of the year lists. So I thought it might be good to just start with a little bit of what is everybody else saying was the best stuff of the year, and let's go from there. I mean, of course, we had Taylor Swift, Person of the Year, all that music. I thought all that music was pretty good. Have you
Mhm.
guys been into all that music she's been doing?
You hear about this music?
She's done a really good job promoting herself. Like, I don't know if I'm sure it's been intentional, but I feel like,
Yeah, she got
I've
that
heard
fake
more about-
boyfriend.
yeah, but I've heard more about her than like any other musician this year, I feel like.
That's
I'm like-
unquestionably true. She has had a fantastic PR year.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I'm worried she's
Right.
at risk of losing it all, though, if she's not careful. I mean, part of a good PR strategy is you've got to know when to go away, right? And like,
I mean, they asked the president about her.
people are fully like, yeah, she saved the economy. Like, but I don't know. Yeah, we don't really do music. I just that was a good place to start the conversation off.
No, that's fair. And it has been a good year for music. We don't talk about it a ton, and my
Yeah.
own tastes are eclectic, but it's been a good year for a lot of stuff.
Mhm.
I even feel like we were just talking about the Game Awards, but one of the things that sort of characterized it was people not feeling like a lot of things got even the nominations they deserved because there was just so much stuff
Just so much.
to
Yeah.
recognize.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good
I
problem.
mean, I think more than the game awards and more than the movie awards, the music awards are the most political and kind of pay to play. So
Yeah,
That's why
that's
I'm
definitely true.
Yeah.
Stuff from back in the beginning of the year, Deepak Past Lives, I feel like came out forever ago, but I was just thinking about the other day.
Yeah.
It's like still probably one of the best movies of the year.
it's still my pick for the best movie I've seen so far this year, and I'm slowly, like every day now, trying to catch up on something new that I missed over the year. And there's been some really good stuff, but nothing that has, I think, eclipsed that yet.
I don't know. I'm still trying to find time to see Killers of the Flower Moon because I'm sure that's going to be my number one pick for the movies of this year.
You should go with our brother. He also
Available
wants
to
go.
buy and rent now,
Is it really?
Yep.
digitally, yeah. But it's not on Apple TV Plus. You have to actually, I think
You have
it's
to rent
25
it.
to buy, 20 to rent. Yeah.
Okay.
Speaking of early stuff, Hi-Fi Rush came out in January
Mm-hmm.
and was a
Shoe-in for best
fantastic
sound
and
design.
unexpected game. Yeah. Yeah, just in terms of the length of the year, feels crazy that was shadow dropped with like no prior announcement this year, but it was great. I love a rhythm game.
Mm-hmm.
If Bruno was on, he would be espousing the virtues of that game right now. So.
Yeah, it was tons of fun and real cool to like get into the vibe of, and then just sort of like crunch your way through bad guys with your guitar.
Mm-hmm. We also got the announcement of we got Bomb Rush Cyber Funk. Speaking of rhythm games, which was a 3D skating / graffiti up. That was very fun.
Graffiti up, eh?
More or less, yeah. It's part of the combat.
I love that.
But I wanted to give you, Riley, space to talk about your favorite occult eldritch fishing simulators and their new crossover event.
The multiple of them that I like. Yeah, Dredge.
Dredge is good.
Still think one of the best games of the year. Cool game with very, for me, DPAC is plagued by the open world, seemingly endless amount of choice, and it's just the analysis paralysis of all that. For me, I am just riddled with frustration about video game companies that think the solution to video game monotony is to make their game more complicated. For me, the solution seems simple: make it easier and slicker, give me less to do, and make what I do more enjoyable. So Dredge and Dave the Diver, both really, really great games that both happen to be fishing games that came out this year. And yeah, like Jack says, they're getting a little crossover here at the end of the year. So I'm excited to jump back in.
Named crossover in history. It's just
Dredge the Diver.
Dredge X Dave the Diver. It's nothing. It's not Dave the Dredger. It's not Dredge the Diver. They haven't done anything.
It should be Dave the Dredger. It should absolutely be Dave the Dredger. Jury Duty. Speaking of old stuff.
So fun.
Such a great, hilarious show that came out way back at the beginning of the year. I don't know if people had a chance to check it out. Fred, sounds like you did.
Just talk about the action.
I got Jury Duty. No, that was a great show where only one of the people on the show didn't know that it was a show. Thought it was just him having to go to jury duty, and the behind the scenes stuff of like how they made that show is so interesting and fascinating, as well as just like a part of the cultural artifact. So that's a TV show that I wanted to call out to everybody real quick while we're talking about old TV, beginning of the year stuff.
I really haven't watched very much TV this year. I talked about Fiona and Cake earlier, and then there's like Scavenger's Reign I'm still working on, but that's a fucking crazy show on Max.
Last of Us was this year, which is wild to talk about because that feels like a long time ago.
That wasn't even that long ago.
I just watched the kind of real version of Squid Game that they did, which I
we talked about that on the show last week.
But it was actually wildly entertaining.
It was fun.
Nintendo shadow dropped the Metroid Prime remaster during a direct, and then ran out of physical copies because they didn't realize that it would be popular.
Was that this year? Jeez.
February. I just had to look it up.
Copies of Oppenheimer.
Was that?
Universal ran out of 4K copies of Oppenheimer. They totally underestimated demand for physical media, so then stores totally sold out, and now they're finally starting to restock. So yeah, good to hear.
Yeah, I mean Barbie, Oppenheimer. I'm trying to think of
Barbie was hard to find. Transformers, the new one sold out very quickly. Black Friday, it's impossible to find anywhere because they had it on sale for like $8. And the rumor is that Paramount only did one pressing; they're not going to do anymore. So if you didn't buy the new Transformers, and I didn't, then you might be shit out of luck.
Beau is Afraid was this year. Knock at the Cabin was this year.
Knock at the Cabin was a good one. Yeah.
John Waters named Beau is Afraid his best movie of the year, which like I don't disagree with for John Waters, but I was a little surprised.
I don't know if that's an endorsement.
Always interesting to hear from him though. I don't know. I mean, obviously,
like I said earlier, Tears of the Kingdom came out in March, and I have I immediately poured 200 hours into it. Fantastic video game. Best game that's come out this year, in my opinion. But I haven't really given Baldur's Gate a fair shake yet.
I was going to say, have you played Baldur's Gate 3?
Not all the way through, certainly. But it didn't grab me the same way. I mean, I'm not going to pretend like I don't have a tremendously huge bias, but I know, and I've talked about on the show, but that game just improves on my favorite Zelda game in ways I didn't think were necessary or possible. I think of Breath of the Wild like as a worse game now because I'm more aware of its flaws because I've seen them improved.
Mario Brothers movie was this year.
That was that was
Mario had a great fucking year overall. It had a new game. It had multiple new announcements and the movie.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like
Marvel did not have a good year.
I was gonna say, do you remember that year that Disney put out like 5 movies and they all made $1 billion, and we were like, this?
It was 6. It was 6 in 2019. It was Captain Marvel, Endgame, Lion King, Aladdin, Frozen 2, and
The Lady and the Tramp reboot.
Is there a Star Wars? Are you forgetting a Star Wars?
Oh, Rise of Skywalker, correct. And then, relatedly, Sony had Far From Home, also aggressively.
So I feel like this is Nintendo's that year. Between those games we were just talking about, the success of the movies, the tease for the new, the live action Zelda movie apparently coming to a theater near you.
Yep. Quote, live action Miyazaki, end quote.
Yeah, what a terrible thing to say.
Yeah, I know, right?
I feel like, look,
tell me you don't understand Miyazaki without telling me you don't.
How many times do you hear about a live action version of a video game? Like, there was a live action Halo movie coming out since 2012. Yeah, I feel like I've heard
and then
rumors
it finally
about that.
came to Paramount Plus, and we all loved it. We watched every episode, and we can't wait for season 2.
I just feel like I always hear a rumor about live action, super popular video game franchise, and it'll be in the work for 20 years, and no one will do anything with it.
Nope.
We will see. I mean, like you said, Nintendo has a strong suspicion that their new console will be coming out, if not 2024, then 2025. And then, just with everything that's been going on, it's they have the money, but I don't know. I don't know how you do it well. It strikes me as so. The narrative of the Zelda games, as much as I love them, is not the deepest thing in the world, and I don't know if it can carry an audience for that long. But they were willing to make a lot of changes for Mario to make it work, so maybe they'll do something.
Well, that's why I'm surprised they didn't just take an animated approach to Zelda, since it worked for Mario.
Yeah, everyone is.
So I don't know. I'll be curious to see which kid they cast for Link, who then becomes.
It'll be
just
Timothy Chalamet.
Link in everyone's mind.
Timothy Chalamet would be fucking hilarious.
No, I figure it's got to be Tremblay.
Tremblay, or I was hoping for a de-aged Orson Welles or something, but I was well.
Yeah, Orlando Bloom.
I'm genuinely afraid of new Nintendo consoles, because I feel like PlayStation and Microsoft do a good job making their games backwards compatible. I don't know what Nintendo's doing. I never know what Nintendo's doing.
You certainly can't play Wii U
Xbox
games.
makes their stuff backward compatible. That's news to me. I have a whole pile of Xbox
it's
games.
sort of
Not
touch and go.
No, but a lot. All the games I play.
Yeah, the Switch is a unique situation because they went back to cartridges, and cartridges are harder to make backwards compatible because you want to do new technology to get them smaller, have more information per square inch. I would be floored if they do not make. I will be shocked if they don't brand this new console as the Switch 2. I will definitely be floored if they don't let it play Switch games.
Yeah, I'm actively don't release it. Don't release it. I'm still enjoying the Switch. So don't get rid of it.
Well, you don't need to get a new one.
This new console, is this the one we talked about that it's on either side and you'll be able to break off?
That was just a patent they filed. That could very well have nothing to do with the new console.
Or it could be.
But it could, yeah.
Anything you guys got your eye on between now and the end of the year that you think might surprise make your list?
Releases.
For me, Poor Things, the York movie is definitely going to be on my list. I just haven't had the opportunity to see it yet. I've seen Boy and the Heron once. I intend to see it more times before I inevitably make it my number one movie of the year. To you guys' successive eye rolls. But
You'll hear no eye rolling from me. I'm going in 3 days.
I don't know how you hear an eye roll.
I'd forgot about Knock the Cabin, so I'm gonna try to watch that this weekend.
Yeah, definitely do that, Fred. That's a good time for everybody.
Yeah.
Barbie is sitting on my TV console, waiting for the moment that the stars align, and my wife decides she finally
I
wants to
still
watch
also have not actually watched Barbie yet, if that counts. But I ought to.
I agree.
Oh,
That one's good.
Yeah.
But no, I don't think of any games or movies that are coming out, actually. Kind of surprisingly, there's not like a big holiday release that I'm looking at. Like, yeah, I guess they're all out already.
You're not looking forward to Aquaman 2? The big holiday movie of the year?
I mean, you know, I'll probably go see it.
Oh, okay. I was surprised you were not negative. Okay. I don't think anyone's really that hyped for it.
No, I'm the biggest Aquaman defender amongst all of us, and every time I see that trailer, I want to see the movie less.
They're really selling the 3D on this one. They really want you to get baked and go see it in 3D.
Oh, is Wonka this year?
Oh yes, Wonka, which people are
Wonka,
saying
I think it's this weekend, right? I think it's just coming out now.
and people are saying
must be
it's
soon.
surprise, creepy, and dark.
Interesting. That might sell me
Directed
on
by
it, to
Zack
be
Snyder.
honest.
Directed by the guy who did fucking Paddington of all things.
I
Bananas.
thought it was Zack Snyder.
No, the guy who's gonna play Link is in that too, right?
Tremblay?
No, Hugh Grant.
All of these are facts.
Hugh Grant.
Sorry, I didn't mean to totally check out on the show, but Google really wanted me to read this article about My Neighbor Totoro whiskey, and now I'm trying to figure
And
out
you were
how
like, I want to read this article right now.
I'm trying to figure out how I buy it. I thought there would be a link, and there's not, but there is just a really
Say less.
Link is Zelda, not Totoro.
Yeah,
Tremblay. All right, there we go. We did it. That's how you do a herald. We'll be back with pop culture recommendations.
Nicely done.
This has been Nerdy Here Weekly. Thanks so much for listening. Before we go, we want to hit you with some pop culture recommendations. But first, we just want to remind you that if you're listening to this show, you can watch it at NIHF.com or on our YouTube channel. And if you like what we do, you can subscribe to the show at our website or your favorite podcatcher of choice so that you never miss an episode. Now, it's time for pop culture recommendations. This is the part of the show where we tell you some stuff that we've been enjoying recently that we think you'll enjoy too. And this week, I want to start with Fred.
Yeah, I kind of alluded to it a little bit earlier, but I went back and replayed the original Alan Wake game, and it's cheap right now. It's an old game, and so if you don't mind old graphics and you don't want to spend a lot of money, this is a really good game to jump into, especially with the new one winning so many awards.
I think I will be doing just that. Jackson?
Yeah, so I talked a little bit. We had a segment talking about the Game Awards and all of the new trailers and announcements, and I do despise these awards and recommend thoroughly that anyone who wants to consume them do so the morning after in a listicle format. So if you haven't already, go see everything that was announced. There was a lot of very boring looking sci-fi stuff, but there were some genuinely interesting games, including, like I said before, there's a new trailer for the new Monster Hunter generation, the 6th one, although they don't number them anymore. There's a new God of War DLC. There's a Blade video game coming out. Lots of interesting stuff. So go see if any of it's for you.
Blade video game, Blade movie race starts now. Deepak.
Hope I'm not stepping on your toes here, Riley, but Godzilla -1 was fantastic. Theater boy's gonna give me shit for this, but go see it in the theater if you can. Go see it in IMAX if you can. Very big, very loud, very good. And on a related note, looking and Shin Godzilla is $5 on Apple TV if you want to buy it.
Oh, Shin Godzilla's a must-watch if you haven't checked it out before. What a movie!
Have not seen it.
Oh,
Can I?
dude,
Sorry.
slap
Can I put an addendum?
that. Yeah. On Deepak's?
One of the trailers shown off was for a game called Big Walk. which is a very low graphical fidelity. Well, the game looks fucking insane. I don't know what it is. It seems like it's a walking simulator in the craziest, weirdest world imaginable. That's like has a multiplayer focus. It's from the people who made Untitled Goose Game, and it's the only game that I saw that I was like, oh, the mechanics of this look new and like they're trying to do a new thing here. And there was a Kojima trailer, so that's saying something.
Shin Godzilla, good. $5. Buy. Big Walk, also good. Check it out. Sounds weird. For me, I'm going to. I saw Boy and the Heron. I mentioned this earlier. I did go into it having recently watched The Wind Rises, the previous last Miyazaki movie, which ends with a guy sort of asking whether or not life is worth living and how are you supposed to function if all of our art and passion eventually gets used to destroy the world. And that was sort of a sad way for one of the greatest creative forces of all time to go out. And this one sort of ends with him declaring himself to be a grand wizard who sits on top of the world, who holds all of creation within his hand. And has all the secrets to life's mysteries, which was a way cooler way for my guy to go out. So I recommend going to see Boy and the Heron.
Go out.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, until
next movie coming soon,
nice.
To be sure.
I mean, yeah, the man can't stop making movies.
I will hit you guys with, for my review, I pulled a couple quotes of his, and one of them that came out, it was from his journal, and it was released in parallel with the movie's premiere, and he said, "There's nothing more pathetic than telling the world you'll retire because of your age and then making another comeback. Is it truly possible to accept how pathetic that is and do it anyway? Doesn't an elderly person deluding themselves that they're still capable despite their geriatric forgetfulness prove that their past is behind them? You bet it does." So, yeah, that was the headspace Hayo was in, so see what he did with all that. Have a fun little time at the movies with a bird. If you want to see it in English, I hear Robert Pattinson does a nuts bird voice, but I haven't seen it yet, so I can't confirm. This has been Nerdy Here Weekly. Thanks so much for listening or watching. If you enjoy the show, we hope that you'll subscribe. The show is produced by Bruno Meneses and me, Riley Trahan. Our art is by Wiki Rascals at Wiki Rascals on Instagram, and our music is by Purple Planet, who you can find at purpleplanet.com. Follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and Threads at Nerd Here First, and subscribe to the show at NIHF.com or YouTube. And if you like what we do, think about throwing us $5 to keep the lights on around here, and you'll get access to the Nerd Out, our deep dive into dorky diatribes. If you're already a subscriber to that, we want to say thank you. You literally make our work possible. And as always, don't forget to tune in next time to hear. Made it in time. Good job, everybody. I'm going to go.